and welcome back to the Beinggrounded podcast. We're on a mission to help you redefine success, become the best version of yourself, and find peace in this fast-paced world. Hi, my name is Molly.
And hi, my name is Fleur.
And in today's episode, we want to discuss all things going from scarcity mindset to abundance mindset. Now, I feel like, especially in this day and age, everyone's living in such scarcity. I don't want to spend this because this, I don't want to do that because of that. Whereas when we fully start to embrace our abundance mindset, when we start to go into relationships, go into life with an abundance mindset of everything works in my favor, everything works for me, watch how much you will get back. So let's start off by talking about career.
When I think about career, I think about, okay, there's two different paths. There's like the reality and then there's like the dream jobs. So dependent on what it is that you want to do in your career, there might be a part of you that says, oh, I'll never get into the fashion industry because it's too saturated, or I can never be an influencer or a podcaster because there's too many influencers out there and what's so special about me, or I'll never get into marketing, publishing, whatever it is. If you have like a job that you really want and you think that it's too saturated that you won't be able to get into it, that is an example of the scarcity. Is it scarcity? What did you say? If you have the scarcity mindset,
well done.
You're going to think that the world is against you and that you're never going to get the dream job. But that's not true. You know, I have so many examples of people who were just like me and got to where that they wanted to get to and have their dream life now. And I would say that if you want to be one of those people, you have to live like you've already gotten everything that you have ever dreamt of having. The reason why we have this podcast is because we dreamt about it and we brought it into fruition. We created it to be what it is today. And if we didn't have that dream, and if we didn't think that we could succeed, even though there are thousands and thousands of podcasts on Spotify, we wouldn't be here. And you have to decide to choose between that abundance or scarcity mindset. It's all up to you and what you decide to choose, because you could very easily say that everything in the world is too saturated.
I once heard this quote that says, you get to choose and you get to filter in the thoughts you have in your mind. Let that actually sink in, right? You get to choose and you get to decide what you think and how you feel. So if you have these thoughts that are going to be negative, I can't succeed, I'm not going to be able to achieve this because the world's against me and God's against me and I'm just never going to be able to have the life I want because, you know, the market's too saturated, or whatever it is that you want to say to make you feel better, you're actually damaging your future and you're damaging yourself, and you choose to have those thoughts. You can rearrange your mind. You can say, actually, good things come my way. Actually, I deserve to have success. Actually, I will be successful and I will create a life that I can live and love. You know, I will have relationships in my life that are going to be abundant and they're going to be full of love and full of things that make me happy, and you know, we're both going to be skipping off into the sunset, right? You can decide to have those thoughts, or you could decide to live in scarcity. You will often find the people that live in scarcity don't live. The people that always live with the fear of it not working out, with the fear of what are people going to think, or the fear, just living their life in fear, basically, are not going to live. You are not going to live a life if you are always scared, and if you are always thinking about what could go wrong. Like, for example, this is kind of, I feel like, what separates me and my dad, for example. So my dad, he has dreams and he has goals and very, very big ambitions and very, very big potential. But he lives in fear of it's not going to work out, or he lives in fear of that they're not being a way for him to be able to pursue and achieve that goal. Whereas I have a vision, I have a goal, and I go for it. Right? Now, there's a difference between our mindsets. My mindset is very abundant. My mindset is very, go hard, go lucky. Is that the right word? Like, very, go big or go home.
Know. That's the first time I've heard of that. Yeah, that's
go big or go home. Go big or go. One of them sayings. Whereas
you're making them up.
My dad is he likes security and he likes safety, which I think is a good thing. You do need security in life, especially
That's
as a
quite
big
normal,
adult.
I feel like.
Yeah, and especially as an adult with a family,
especially for millennials
stuff like that.
as
It's a lot
well.
easier for me. So obviously you can't really compare us entirely, but you can compare our mindset. So he needs security, he needs safety because he's got a family, he's got people to provide for. Whereas for me, I have just myself at the minute, you know, like I can go ahead and achieve and try these big goals and big dreams because no one's stopping me. And if it works out, it works out. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. That is the essence of an abundant mindset. An abundant mindset is going from what if it doesn't work out to it's going to work out, and if it doesn't work out, then I'll try another thing. It's really and truly about actually figuring out what way you can achieve a goal and what way you can achieve a dream. That is how you create an abundant mindset. And I feel like when it comes to your career path, when it comes to creating a successful career, when it comes to building upon that and trying to figure out where you stand in your field of profession, having an abundant mindset is throwing yourself into different fields or different areas. So say if you have an amazing passion for fashion, right? Rhymes. Passion for fashion. If you have that, if you are invested in fashion, you love everything to do with it, throw yourself into that industry. Create networks, create people around you who are into fashion or have fashion connections or are something in the fashion industry. Apply for fashion jobs, create a social media platform where you're doing fashion. You know what I'm trying to say? It's like realizing you have that dream and building upon it is the best way in which you can become abundant in that career. You know, or you could choose to have the mindset of, well, I've got this amazing dream and goal and passion for fashion, but I'm just not going to go ahead with it because I just don't think I'm going to be good enough, and everyone else that's going to apply for this program is going to be a lot more better than me, and I'm just going to probably fail. Now, look at what person with equal amount of talent is going to get furthest in the field of fashion. This person could be better than this person, but this person goes for it, and this person goes and achieves their goals by putting themselves in the fashion industry and gets further than the person who decides to sit and stay in their scarcity mindset.
That's so true. I love that. Also, if you catch me looking down, it's because I'm looking at Molly explaining this because I can't see her.
I keep
having to imagine where are you going to be, left or right? I'm going to put you to the right.
Yeah, I can look up like this. Yeah, I agree.
You look left and wave. I'm going to look right and wave. Okay. 3, 2, 1.
I
can't wait to put that together. Yeah. Hi, angels. Actually, I was waving at my angel numbers there. But no, I definitely agree with what you were saying. It's very much a case of like you create the world that you want to be in. And I feel like that can be said for anything. So let's go on to, for example, love and relationships. If you want to try and manifest the partner of your dreams, the only way that you can do that is by believing that A, the partner of your dreams actually exists, B, you are worthy and deserving of that partner, and C, this is a bit niche, but like, let's say you are oh my god, all men are the same or all women are the same, that you know that they aren't all the same and that your person is out there for you. If you do not believe those things, you're not going to be able to manifest that abundance into your life. Like, you have the choice to decide that. For example, I came out of a 3-year, very toxic relationship. And for a good 6 months after that breakup, every single day, I used to blame myself, even though I wasn't the one to blame. Of course, I'm not perfect. I did make mistakes. I made flaws. I had flaws in that relationship, but I was aware of them and I was working on them and I was healing. And so that meant that I was changing and I was growing. I was doing my part. But that didn't mean that I have to blame myself for things that I obviously were not to blame for. And I think for so long, I believed that there was never going to be a man on this earth who was going to one day love me again or one day treat me with the respect that I deserved and with the love that I deserved. And I was always a lover girl. I used to love reading romance books and I used to love watching rom-coms. And for so long, I lost that part of myself because I would just cringe whenever I watched them or read the books, because in my head I'd be like, oh yeah, well, this is fake. This isn't real. This is like, you know, it's just a dream. I'm never going to meet someone who's going to treat me this way. And eventually, once I started to heal and I started to changed my perspective and I followed more couples that showcase that healthy love. It took me so long to get to a point where I romanticized love again, and I started reading the books again, and I started watching the films again, because I truly believed in my heart that it was not my fault, but the reason why my ex came into my life is because I had that mindset that all men were the same, because of what I'd seen my whole life. I didn't believe that that the man that was right for me that would be out there. I sort of thought, okay, this toxic behavior is natural, it's fine, it's normal. I normalized it. I didn't think that I myself was good enough to meet someone better than that. And so it's not like it was my fault that I was treated that way, but it is my fault that I stayed and that I let it happen and that the relationship went on as long as it did go on, because I believed that that was all I was deserving of. I had a scarcity mindset, if you will. And to have an abundant mindset is basically to say that you are deserving of that love, that even though you went through all of that trauma and even though you were treated so poorly, it doesn't mean that every other relationship or the one is going to be that way. You have to believe that it's going to be different, that now that you are secure, because you need to work on yourself. And I truly believe that if you work on yourself after a relationship, you will reap the rewards. But if you jump into another one, you can't, because you haven't even healed. There's no rewards to reap. You'll just go through the same trauma cycle over and over again until you understand that you need to learn your lessons and you need to surpass your mistakes in order to eventually meet the person that's right for you. When you believe in love, love will give you reasons to believe in it even more. But when you believe in toxicity, toxicity will give you reasons to believe in toxicity.
I love that.
Put that
I'll
on
put
a
that
mug.
on a piece of paper. I'll write that down. Put that on a mug.
Put that on a piece of paper. I've not heard that before. It's always like a t-shirt or a mug. Nah, put it on a piece of paper. What am I doing? What am I doing with that piece of paper? Am I just like waving it around?
I'll put it on a piece of paper. I'll write on some toilet roll.
Write that on a piece of paper. Put it on toilet roll.
You know what I mean?
It's like a backhanded compliment.
I meant to say like I put it on a mug. I was trying to think of something creative. If
Put it on a mug.
Paper's all that came out.
Put it on a billboard.
That'll be us on there. That's such a great way to reframe romantic relationships, especially if you've had some sort of previous trauma with a relationship, or it crumbled and now you've got a negative perception on male species or even females or whatever it is. If you have,
love the way you said that.
If you have like such a negative perception on people and what you deserve and how you deserve to be treated in a relationship, of course you're going to live a life of a scarcity mindset. But like Fleur said, when you do the inner work, when you heal, when you take time out after the relationship instead of going straight in for a rebound, you will literally see how much your healing journey will unfold and how much you can actually build upon your mindset to be able to create a healthier and better relationship in the future. Yeah, I really like that, honestly. And I feel like when you take time for like solo dating, for example, for me, I've never been in a relationship, but like obviously I've had my fair little share of heartbreaks. Like when you take time, and even with friendship breakups too, like it can be any form of breakup. But when you come out of a relationship or whatever it is, and you spend so long by yourself, you really begin to love yourself. And I feel like that's when you begin to realise, no, I don't deserve to be treated that way. No, I don't deserve to have this. I don't deserve to be, treated in a certain way, or etc, 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 right? Because you've spent so much time with yourself that you think, well, I don't treat myself like that, so why would I let someone else treat me? You are literally building upon an abundant mindset. And I really like it.
It's so true. It's so true. And I feel that you just have to ask yourself the question, if you had children, or not even just children, but like your friends as well, and you'd seen them go through the same things that you had gone through, would you tell them that they're not deserving of a healthy relationship and that they need to be in a scarcity mindset and that's all they're deserving of? Or would you tell them to think abundantly and to think that there's always going to be someone out there for you? It's always going to be that option. I mean, I'd hope. I'd hope it'd be that option. I mean, there might be people out there be like, actually, you know, I'm a bit evil. But, you know, you would want them to think abundantly. And so I always find it so strange. I was actually talking about this in my YouTube video I filmed today about how to overcome the like perfectionism and how to stop wanting to be perfect. It was a very impromptu video that I decided to film last minute. And I was saying how if you like, what, it doesn't make sense that we talk to ourselves in one way, but we treat other people in a different way. Like, we would let other people off for the same things we don't let ourselves off with. And it's the same way with the mindset. Like, if you're going to say to someone else that they should think abundantly, then it's no different for yourself. You deserve to think abundantly. It's just the only reason why you're jumping to the scarcity mindset is because you believe that that's all you're deserving of. In any era, in any section of your life, if you believe that you are not worthy, if that is your inherent belief that you hate yourself, you will always feel that you are only deserving of the scarcity mindset. So before you do anything that we're telling you, the ground rule, the foundation is that you work on your self-perception, is that you work on loving yourself. And if you cannot get to that point, then maybe just self-acceptance and accepting all that you are. And once you accept all of that you are and you stop trying to trade what there is to you for something else or for someone else, you will be able to see that abundance that maybe you didn't even see beforehand. Because I'm sure there's going to be people that think, oh, well, it's easy for you to say it because you have it this way and you have it that way, and you don't see that door of abundance. Like, there's two doors. There's one of the scarcity, there's one of the abundance, and you physically cannot see the abundance door. You can only see the scarcity door. So of course you go and you keep opening that door because that's the only door that you can see, and you'd rather go in any door than stay in the same place that you're in. I understand that. But when you open up your mindset and when you start working on yourself and do what Molly said about going on solo dates and truly coming back to yourself, coming home to yourself, slowly but surely that abundance door will start to appear. And maybe at first you'll still choose the scarcity door because it's comfort, you know. You'll always choose comfort over something that you haven't, over the unknown, something that you've not explored before. But when you feel brave, open that door and you will see how much more the room glows.
Open up the so I had in my head the whole time.
Open up. I love how you have to bring in the songs.
Open up the door.
I feel like I need to do like a meme or something, have two doors and like put that song in the background.
Yeah, literally.
It's the abundance door and the scarcity door.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's a good way to think about it.
So true. And the final part which I want to sort of delve into is, drum roll please.
Money, money, money.
Money!
Ain't it funny?
Money, money,
in
money.
a rich man's world. And we do actually have an episode on Spotify with Perry Whitmarsh talking all about money. So if you really want to dive deeper into that, because we're not professionals with this, then go listen to that episode.
He was so
I'll
helpful.
Link it in the description
Inshallah,
below.
if we get big, we need to have him
Generally,
on again.
like,
he was very insightful.
We definitely do, especially now that we've like upgraded. And he's got the mic, because bless him, he ordered a mic for that episode and it came afterwards.
Oh, bless him, I remember that.
It was so sad. I felt so bad.
Oh, no.
We got to put it to use.
He is so sweet, honestly. Like, when we have him on again, we'll be like famous.
And if you have any like specific questions that you want us to ask him, because he is a professional, then just drop them in the comments below, and when we do eventually have him on again, we will ask him those questions.
First of all, everyone's financial situation looks different, so this advice and what we're about to discuss, take with a pinch of salt, because obviously money can be a very sensitive topic.
Exactly.
Because
everyone's different. So
obviously take what we say, like take what you want and leave what you want, basically. So when it comes to money, the one mindset shift which I have had, and this has worked for me even when I've had literally £10 in my bank. Like, I'm not very good with money. Thing is, right, is like before I had a job, I just didn't have money, so I'd be very, very stingy, and I wouldn't like to spend it because I'd only have like 10 quid left, like, and that's got to last me the whole month, you know. So, but the one mindset shift which I adopted and changed my mind is money always comes back to me. Now, this I normally like to exercise this in the form of giving to charity. So obviously, like, giving a bit of my money to charity, even if I have £10, I'll buy someone water. Charity doesn't have to just be in, like, you know, in donating or whatever it could be. It could just be simply buying someone water, giving someone a packet of crisps, or whatever it could be. So I would buy someone a drink, or just, you know, like, donate online, right? Donate to charity. And I would give, like, even though I only had a small amount to give, I'd still give, because I think I have got more money than someone else. And I think it's such a great way in which you can exercise your whole money comes back to me. Trust me, it always does. Money always comes back. It always
does.
It does. And, you know, most of the time, like, people who have got so much money, like, I know people who are rich and they just don't like to spend money. And I think it's because maybe they live in a scarcity mindset. Maybe, I think rich people, and I mean genuinely wealthy people, I don't mean people with, you know, I mean, like, genuinely wealthy people who have got, like, millions and billions. I think they don't like to spend a lot of money. Like, they won't buy flashy shoes and flashy cars and designer this and designer that.
That's so true.
Because they don't see the importance or value in it. To them, they see the importance and value in investments and saving and stuff like that, to the point where they get very stingy. And when it comes to buying a little something more expensive, they won't do it, because they almost have, like, such a wall around their money. And I think if I, with my £10 left, right, with my 10 quid in my bank account, can give a small amount away to charity or someone else that needs it more, why can you not with your millions and millions and millions? I mean, it just doesn't make sense to me. Like, it doesn't make sense, because, like I said, it always comes back to you. And when you spend in the sake of making someone's life better or whatever it is, you will see so much more come back to you. And I think that, you know, obviously, if you actually cannot afford to, for whatever reason, it's a lot different. But, you know, obviously, I'm in a position where I have a home, I live with my parents. So, you know, if I run out of my £10, like, it's okay. I haven't got to pay rent. I haven't got to pay for food and for water and stuff like that. So, of course, it's a very different situation, a very different scenario. But, yeah, I just think it's really important. Like, charity doesn't just have to be in the form of giving money away. It can simply be in the form of just making someone's day better. Hold open the door, you know, like, buy someone a bottle of water. It costs like 50p if you get it from Superdrug, 89p, something like that. I don't know. Do you know what I mean, right? It's just small little things you can do, and I think you see it come back to you threefold.
It's so true.
Yeah.
I definitely agree. I think that money always comes back to you, and it comes back in the weirdest ways. I think whenever I worry about spending money, it will just come back to me in a strange way where I wouldn't have thought it would come back that way. But I think also, and Perry did discuss this as well, like, a massive part of having scarcity mindset with money, because I will say that I'm doing really well in every other sector of my life, but when it comes to money, I just can't grasp it, because I obviously really want to invest, and I'm learning about investing. But the thing that I've learned about investing is that you don't start investing until you have at least 6 months of emergency funds. Like, there's no point until you have a proper job, you're earning money, and you have about 6 months of that money. So obviously I am unemployed right now, and although I'm looking for a job and I'm working on my social media, I don't have any active income in my life right now. And even when I do, it's going to take me a while until I can eventually think about investing, because not only do I want to think about investing, I've got 60 grand student loans I need to pay off, and so there's a lot of things going on in my head. And I always think that if I don't start now, then I'm wasting my time, because I always see those videos of people being like, oh, I wish I started sooner, or I wish I did this sooner. And it's okay to not pressure yourself into starting sooner. Just start when you can, okay? Because, like, I have started saving, and I do have an ISA account which I can eventually start putting money into. I do have these accounts, but I mean, like, stocks and stuff like that. I think it's a bit risky to start investing into stocks until you have that emergency fund, because let's say you ran out of all the money because you thought it was the right thing to start investing, you won't have anything to fall back on. So don't feel the pressure of having to start now, of having to do what everyone else is doing, of having to follow everyone else's routine. Learn about money. And I will say my favorite podcast and YouTube channel for this is Girls That Invest by Simran Kaur. So if you want that kind of advice, and I would definitely say read the books, listen to the podcast, do the research first, learn about money. Okay, it doesn't have to be this scary space that not everyone is welcome into. If you learn about it, you will see it's actually not that difficult. But I will say I'm still wrapping my head around it, even though I've been reading the books now for about like 6 months. I feel like it takes time. You have to process the information, and once you feel like you've got it, you understand, you have the money, then you can start investing. And you also need to recover any childhood beliefs that you have around money. When you've lived a life where you feel like you've had to worry so much about your family income, and you've had to worry about the way that your parents are spending money, are they being risky with it? Are they being safe with it? Are they investing? Are they not investing? Are they having to work that 9 to 5 and they don't necessarily have the dream life that they've always wanted, or they don't have the chance to relax as much as they wish they could have? Or are they not working? It could be different situation for anyone. But if you are like me and you have had to worry about money growing up, and it has been something that you have been conscious about, it can be very difficult to spend on yourself in the future, especially if you've always felt guilt. I have always felt guilt whenever my parents spent money on me. It's just an inherent feeling that I've always had. Even if I knew they could afford it, I still felt guilty. And so because of that, I've realized that the reason why when I go out shopping, like for example, Molly and I went shopping the other day, the reason why I feel guilty to spend money on myself on good quality things, I mean, like, I don't mind spending £5 on blush, but I wouldn't be able to spend £25 on blush. I don't mind buying a cheap top, but the idea of spending £50 on a top, that scares me. And it's because I think I'm not deserving of it. It's because I feel that guilt that I've always felt my entire life. And when you don't think that you are deserving of a good relationship, of being able to spend money on yourself, of having the career of your dreams, the scarcity mindset, it will filter in to every section of your life, and it will make you feel exhausted. It will make you feel burnt out. You will never feel good enough. You have to believe that you are good enough. So whenever a negative thought pops up into my head, like for example, I don't deserve to spend this much money on me, I always flip it around and I say I do, because I think, would I question if a friend said, like for example, Molly bought was it Fenty Beauty? No, it was Rare Beauty. She bought a Rare Beauty blush, which was, how much was it again?
25 quid, something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, 20 is, so that is like, I
fair,
would never spend that much on myself. But it's not inherently. It's not a lot of money, because I didn't judge you for 1 second when you were buying that blush. I was like, oh my god, she deserves it. It's going to look so nice on her. Like, that's not a lot of money. But the minute I was looking around and seeing these lipsticks for £20 or these blushes that I really liked, in my head, all I could hear was, you aren't deserving of that. You don't deserve to spend that much money on you. Buy the cheap products. That's all you're worth. Like, it was just constant. And I never would think that way about anyone else.
Do you spend, say if I really wanted specific makeup,
I would spend it on you.
Yeah, exactly.
If that's what you're saying, I was
you.
thinking that. I journaled about it in my journal yesterday. I was looking for my journal then, and then I realised it's behind me. But I was journaling about it, about how I noticed that if I'd seen a friend, like for example, I hope Senny doesn't listen to this. I don't think she will, but I was shopping with Senny in Selfridges in it is Selfridges, right? Yeah, Selfridges. The American shop.
Sephora.
It's called... No, Sephora. When I went into Sephora in Italy with Senny, I noticed that she was looking at this blush that was like one of the big brands, you know, so it was like £50 for this blush, £50-60. I instantly took a picture of it, because whenever I know she likes something, I take a picture of it so that I can either buy it for her birthday or Christmas, because by then she would have forgotten about it. It's what I did for her birthday. So I took a picture of this blush. And I didn't think anything of it. I was like, okay, I know that one day I'm going to buy her this blush because I know she really likes it. But I would never think to do that for myself. I would never think, oh my God, I'm going to take a picture of this blush and I'll buy it one day. I do it so easily for other people. Like, I really don't mind spending money on other people, even when I don't necessarily have the means to. But when it comes to myself, I just find it so difficult. And it's like, I've never felt so much guilt for anything in my life than when I spend money on myself. And it's so sad, because you are deserving of that. So if you want to get out of that, some tips I would say I have, for me personally, firstly, I do buy the thing. Like, if I have that thought pop up, if I know I have the money to buy myself a coffee, for example, I will do it, because that is how you need to get comfortable with spending money on yourself. If you don't ever spend money on yourself, you will never get comfortable with it. So when you have the means, I don't mean like go broke. When you have the means, spend money on yourself, and you can start small, and then you can work up and work to the more bigger levels that you're like scared to get to. Secondly, I would say you need to normalize spending money on yourself. Like I just said, like, I understand that it will come back to you, get more comfortable with those feelings, go back to your childhood, understand why you've got the trauma that you have, work through it, don't just ignore it, understand it, learn about money, and then lastly, always flip what you're saying, like flip the negative thing to the positive thing. But yeah, anyways, I think that wraps up the episode. Before we end it, we're just going to share one thing this week that we're going to do to stay grounded. So Molly, what is it that you're going to do this week to stay grounded?
I'm going to start prioritizing my peace and putting my energy where it is valued.
I love that. And honestly, I think I'm going to start doing the same thing, prioritizing my peace. I'm also going to one of my old high school / sixth form friends' birthday party this Saturday. And I think a part of me, like, I'm a bit scared for it because I'm worried that I'm not going to be authentic to who I am now. And I'm going to jump back to who I was like 4 or 5 years ago, to the Fleur that they knew. So I'm going to try and stay as authentic to myself as I possibly can, and understand that is a beautiful thing to be able to do. It's very abundant as well, always allowing yourself to be the person that you want to be, and allowing that abundance to flow into you effortlessly.
I love that. So yeah, thank you so much for listening and watching, and we really hope you guys enjoyed. New episodes are out every single Tuesday, and we will leave the links to mine and Fleur's YouTube and the Spotify podcast. Oh my god, there's so much now.
And the Instagram. So many links. Instagram,
we'll leave
YouTube.
the links to everything. Basically, all the links to everything you can follow us on, we'll leave down below. So yeah, we really hope you guys enjoyed. Bye.